Christopher Plummer. Arthur Christopher Orme Plummer, December 13, 1929, February 5, 2021, was a Canadian actor. His career spanned 7 decades, gaining him recognition for his performances in film, stage, and television. He received multiple accolades, including an Academy Award, 2 Tony Awards, and 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, making him the only Canadian recipient of the Triple Crown of Acting. He also received a BAFTA Award, a Golden Globe Award, and Screen Actors Guild Award, as well as a nomination for a Grammy Award. He made his Broadway debut in the 1954 play The Starcross Story. He received 2 Tony Awards, one for Best Actor in a musical playing Cyrano de Bergerac in Cyrano 1974, and the other for Best Actor in a play portraying John Barrymore in Barrymore 1997. His other Tony-nominated roles include in J.B. 1959, Othello 1982, No Man's Land 1994, King Lear 2004, and Inherit the Wind 2007. After appearing on stage, he made his film debut in Stage Struck in 1958, landed his first starring role that same year in Wind Across the Everglades. His breakthrough role was for his leading role as Captain George Von Trapp in the musical film The Sound of Music 1965 alongside Julie Andrews. During this time he starred in The Fall of the Roman Empire 1964, Waterloo 1970, and The Man Who Would Be King 1975. He received an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Beginners 2011. Other Oscar-nominated roles include In the Last Station 2009 and All the Money in the World 2017. His other notable films include Somewhere in Time 1980, Malcolm X 1992, The Insider 1999, A Beautiful Mind 2001, The New World 2005, Cyrano 2005, Inside Man 2006, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo 2011, and Outside 2019. Early life and education. Arthur Christopher Orme Plummer was born on December 13, 1929 in Toronto, Ontario. He was the only child of John Orme Plummer, who sold stocks and other securities, and Isabella Mary Abbott, who worked as secretary to the Dean of Sciences at McGill University and was the granddaughter of Canadian Prime Minister Sir John Abbott. On his father's side, Plummer's great-uncle was patent lawyer and agent Fahrenheit, the Featherstone Hall. Plummer was also a second cousin of British actor Nigel Bruce, known for portraying Dr. Watson to Basil Rathbone's Sherlock Holmes. Plummer's parents separated shortly after his birth, and he was brought up mainly by his mother in the Abbott family home in Saintville, Quebec, on the western tip of Montreal Island. He spoke English and French fluently. As a schoolboy, he began studying to be a concert pianist, but developed a love for theatre at an early age and began acting while he was attending the High School of Montreal. He took up acting after watching Laurence Olivier film Henry V 1944. He learned the basics of acting as an apprentice with the Montreal Repertory Theatre, where fellow Montrealer William Shatner also played. Plummer never attended university, something he regretted all his life. Although his mother and his father's family had ties with McGill University, he was never a McGill student. In 1946, he called the attention of Montreal Gazette's theatre critic Herbert Whittaker with his performance as Mr. Darcy in a Montreal High School production of Pride and Prejudice. Whittaker was also amateur stage director of the Montreal Repertory Theatre, and he cast Plummer at age 18 as Oedipus in Jean Cocteau's La Machine Infernale. Theatre. Plummer Upright equals 0.8, photographed by Carl Van Vechten, 1959, 1948, 1958, early career and Broadway debut. Plummer made his professional acting debut in 1948 with Ottawa Stage Society, after which he performed roles as an apprentice artist with the Montreal Repertory Theatre alongside fellow apprenticing actor William Shatner. In 1952, he starred in a number of productions at the Bermudiana Theatre in the city of Hamilton in the British colony of Bermuda, where he was seen and recruited by a US producer, although he was reluctant to leave Bermuda. Edward Everett Horton hired Plummer to appear as Gerard in the 1953 roadshow production of Andre Roussin's Nina, a role originated on Broadway by David Niven in 1951. Plummer made his Broadway debut in January 1953 in The Starcross Story, a show that closed on opening night after a plagiarism lawsuit shut down the production. His next Broadway appearance, Home is the Hero, lasted 30 performances from September to October 1954. He appeared in support of Broadway legend Katharine Cornell and film legend Tyrone Power in The Dark Is Light Enough, which lasted 69 performances from February to April 1955. The play toured several cities, with Plummer serving as Power's understudy. Later that same year, he appeared in his first Broadway hit, opposite Julie Harris, who won a Tony Award, and Jean Annual's The Lock. After appearing in Night of the Orc, which was not a success, Plummer appeared in a Le Kazan's successful Broadway production of Archibald MacLeish's Pulitzer Prize-winning play J.B. Plummer was nominated for his first Tony as Best Actor in Play. J.B. also won Tonys as Best Play and for Kazan's direction. He appeared as Jason opposite Dame Judith Anderson in Robinson Jeffers' adaptation of Medea at the theatre's Sarah Bernhardt in Paris in 1955. The American National Theatre and Academy production, directed by Guthrie McClintock, was part of Le Festival International. Also in 1955, he played Mark Antony in Julius Caesar and Ferdinand in the Tempest at the American Shakespeare Festival, Stratford, Connecticut. He returned to the American Shakespeare Festival in 1981 to play the title role in Henry V. Plummer made his debut at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival in 1956, playing the title role in Henry V, which subsequently was performed that year at the Edinburgh Festival. He played the title role in Hamlet and Sir Andrew Aguecheek in Twelfth Night at Stratford in 1957. The following year, he played Lear in The Winter's Tale, Bardolph in Henry Roman IV, Part 1, and Benedick in Much Ado About Nothing. 1960–1965, London debut in Stratford Festival. In April 1961, he appeared as Benedick in Much Ado About Nothing with the Royal Shakespeare Company at the Shakespeare Memorial Theatre in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. He also appeared with Odyssey in May 1961 in the lead role of Richard Roman III. He made his London debut on June 11, 1961, playing King Henry Roman II in Jean Annual's Becket with Odyssey at the Aldwych Theatre, directed by Peter Hall. The production later transferred to the Globe for a December 1961 to April 1962 run. For his performance, Plummer won the Evening Standard Award for Best Actor. At the Stratford Festival, he played Philip the Bastard in King John and Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet. In 1962, he played the title roles in both Cyrano de Bergerac and Macbeth, returning in 1967 to play Mark Antony in Antony and Cleopatra. Plummer appeared less frequently on Broadway in the 1960s as he moved from New York to London. He appeared in the title role in a 1963 production of Bertolt Brecht's The Irresistible Rise of Arturo Ui, which did not succeed, but he had a great success in Peter Schaffer's The Royal Hunt of the Sun, playing Conquistador Francisco Pizarro to David Carradine's Atahualpa. Both performances were stunning, as Plummer did wonders of extraordinary beauty and deep pain in playing his complex character. 1971–1978, National Theatre and Broadway roles. From June 1971 to January 1972, he appeared at the Royal National Theatre acting in repertory for a season. The plays he appeared in were Jean Girardot's Amphitryon 38, directed by Laurence Olivier, Joe Buchner's Danton's Death, director Jonathan Miller, Adrian Mitchell's Tiger, Luigi Pirandello's The Rules of the Game, and Eugene O'Neill's Landay's Journey into Night at the New Theatre in London. From May to June 1973, he appeared on Broadway as a title character in Cyrano, a musical adaptation of Edmund Rossend's 1897 play Cyrano de Bergerac by Anthony Burgess and Michael J. Lewis. For that performance, Plummer won the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical and the Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Performance. Later that year, he played Anton Chekhov in Neil Simon's adaptation of several Chekhov short stories, The Good Doctor. Another notable play in which he appeared was the 1974 adaptation of Arthur Miller's After the Fall, in which he played Quentin, a part originated on Broadway by Jason Robards opposite Faye Dunaway's Maggie. Plummer appeared in Lovers and Madmen at the Opera House at the Kennedy Center in Washington, District of Columbia in 1973 and in Love and Masterful at the same venue in 1975. Love and Masterful consisted of selections from the works of William Shakespeare on the subject of love, arranged by Plummer. His co-stars were Zoe Caldwell, Bebai Anderson and Leonard Nimoy. Plummer played Edgar in East. Al Doctor's Drinks Before Dinner with the New York Shakespeare Festival at a Public/Newman Theatre in New York City in 1978. 1982–1997, Othello, Barrymore and Tony Wynn. In 1982, he starred on Broadway production of the Shakespearean tragedy Othello, playing Iago opposite James L. Jones Moore. The production also featured performances from Kelsey Grammer as Cassio and Diane Wiest as Desdemona. New York Times theatre critic Frank Rich wrote in his original review, Mr. Plummer, a sensational actor in peak form, has made something crushing out of Shakespeare's arch-villain. He gives us evil so pure and so bottomless that it can induce tears. Our tears are not for the dastardly Iago, of course that would be wrong, no. What Mr. Plummer does is make us weep for a civilization that can produce such a man and allow him to flower. For his performance, he received a Tony Award for Best Actor in a play nomination, losing to Roger Rees in The Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby. In 1988, he starred in another Shakespeare adaptation on Broadway in the title role in Macbeth with Glenda Jackson playing his lady. Frank Rich wrote of his performance, Mr. Plummer's thoughtful, beautifully spoken performance best illuminates the strengths and built-in limitations of the entire enterprise. This actor grapples arrestingly with his early bouts of conscience, as horrible imaginings send Macbeth's heart knocking at his ribs. He appeared with Jason Robards in the 1994 revival of Harold Pinter's No Man's Land by the Roundabout Theatre Company. Variety film critic Jeremy Gerard praised Plummer's performance while critiquing Robards by writing, "They are a remarkable pair to watch wrangling with Pinter's elliptical, often uncrackable script. As it happens, Plummer emerges triumphant while Robards seems utterly at sea. Plummer plays the humour and the bathos with equal ease and complete conviction, by turns funny and heartbreaking. It's an exquisite, haunting performance." For his performance, Plummer received 4th Tony Award nomination. Plummer great success in 1997 Broadway production of the William Lewis play Barrymore, portraying John Barrymore a few months before his death. Vincent Canby, in his New York Times review, he praised Plummer for his performance with the confidence of the superb actor he has become, and in the trim of an athlete. Christopher Plummer is here in a new play, giving an achingly funny, memorably strong and debonair performance. After a successful run on Broadway, he went on tour with production. His performance brought him his 2nd Tony Award, this time as Best Actor in a Play, and a Drama Desk Award as Outstanding Actor in a Play. 2002-2014 celebrated actor and final stage roles. In 2002, he appeared in a lauded production of King Lear, directed by Jonathan Miller. The production successfully transferred to New York City's Lincoln Center in 2004. He was nominated for a Tony Award and a Drama Desk Award for his 2004 King Lear, and for a Tony Award playing Henry Drummond in the 2007 revival of Inherit the Wind. He returned to the stage at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival in August 2008 in a critically acclaimed performance as Julius Caesar in George Bernard Shaw's Caesar and Cleopatra, directed by Tony Award winner Des McAnuff. This production was videotaped and shown in high definition in Canadian cinemas on January 31, 2009, with an encore presentation on February 23, 2009, and broadcast on April 4, 2009 on Bravo in Canada. In 2009 and 2010, Plummer starred in 2 staged screen adaptations of the Stratford Festival productions of George Bernard Shaw's Caesar and Cleopatra and William Shakespeare's The Tempest. Both plays were directed for the stage by Des McAnuff and produced by Barry Average. The Tempest won Plummer a Canadian Screen Award for Best Performance in a Performing Arts Programme. Plummer returned to the Stratford Festival in the summer of 2010 in The Tempest as the lead character, Prospero, also videotaped and shown in higher def in cinemas, and again in the summer of 2012 in the one-man show, A Word or Two, an autobiographical exploration of his love of literature. In 2014, Plummer presented A Word or Two again at the Almonds in Theatre in Los Angeles. 1958-1964 film debut and early roles. Plummer's film career began in 1958 when Sidney Lumet cast him as a young writer in Stage Struck. That same year, Plummer played the lead in Nicholas Ray's film Wind Across the Everglades. In 1963, he was the subject of a short National Film Board of Canada documentary 30 Minutes, Mr. Plummer, directed by Anne Claire Poirier. Plummer did not appear on the film screen for 6 years after 1958 until he played the Roman Emperor Commodus in Anthony Mann's epic The Fall of the Roman Empire 1964. 1965-1979, The Sound of Music unstarred him. Although embarrassed, at first, about his role, Plummer remains widely known for his portrayal of Captain Von Trapp due to the box office success and continued popularity of the Robert Wise-directed musical epic The Sound of Music 1965, which Plummer once described as so awful and sentimental and gooey. The film made cinematic history, becoming the all-time top-grossing film, eclipsing Gone with the Wind. He found all aspects of making the film unpleasant, except working with Andrews, and he avoided using its name, instead calling it that movie S&M, or The Sound of Mucus. He declined to attend the 40th anniversary cast reunion, but he did provide commentary on the 2005 DVD release. He relented for the 45th anniversary and appeared with the full cast in the Oprah Winfrey Show on October 28, 2010. In 2009, Plummer said that he was a bit bored with the character. He said, although we worked hard enough to make him interesting, it was a bit like flogging a dead horse, and the subject matter is not mine. I mean, it can't appeal to every person in the world. However, he admitted that the film itself was well made and was proud to be associated with a film with such mass appeal. But it was a very well made movie, and it's a family movie, and we haven't seen a family movie, I don't think, on that scale for ages. In one interview he said that he had terrific memories of making the movie. He was in Inside Daisy Glover 1965, then played World War II agent Eddie Chapman in Triple Cross 1966, and had a supporting role as Field Marshal Erwin Rommel in The Night of the Generals 1967. Plummer was cast to replace Rex Harrison for the film adaptation of Dr. Dolittle. This decision was later reversed, but Plummer was nonetheless paid $87,500 for signing the contract. At the same time, Plummer was performing in the stage play The Royal Hunt of the Sun, and his whole Dolittle participation was so brief that Plummer never missed a performance. Plummer had the title role in Oedipus the King 1968 and The High Commissioner 1968, playing an Australian in the latter. Plummer was one of many stars in Battle of Britain 1969 and the lead in the musical Lock Up Your Daughters 1969. In the 1969 film adaptation of The Royal Hunt of the Sun, Plummer plays the Inca Emperor Atahualpa to Robert Shaw's Pizarro. On screen, Plummer portrayed the Duke of Wellington in Waterloo 1970. The Pix 1973 was his first Canadian film. He played Rudyard Kipling in A Man Who Would Be King 1975. He also appeared in the comedy The Return of the Pink Panther 1975, alongside Peter Sellers and the silent partner 1978 opposite Elliot Goode. He appeared in Aces High 1976, Star Crash 1978, International Velvet 1978, and Murder by the Queen 1979 playing Sherlock Holmes. Plummer appeared in the romantic drama Somewhere in Time 1980, the drama Hiatus 1981, the comedy Dragnet 1987, and Shadow Dancing 1988. Plummer also did some voice work, such as his role of Henry the Pigeon in An American Tale 1986 and the villainous Grand Duke of Owls in Rock-a-Doodle 1991, both directed by Don Bluth. 1991-2009, established character actor. Plummer continued acting in films including the science fiction film Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country 1991, which was a welcome opportunity for him since he was a fan of the Star Trek franchise, which also allowed him to perform with his former understudy and longtime friend, William Shatner. He also appeared in Spike Lee's biographical drama Malcolm X 1992, Mike Nichols' horror drama Wolf 1994, Taylor Hackford's psychological drama Dolores Claiborne 1995, and Terry Gilliam's science fiction drama 12 Monkeys 1995. One of Plummer's most critically acclaimed roles was that of television journalist Mike Wallace in Michael Mann's biographical film The Insider 1999, for which he was honoured with several critics' awards for Best Supporting Actor, though a corresponding Academy Award nomination did not materialise. Plummer's other turns from this period include his roles as Dr. Rose and in Ron Howard's Academy Award-winning biographical film A Beautiful Mind 2001, Uncle Ralph to the title character in the 2002 film adaptation of Charles Dickens' novel Nicholas Nickleby, Arthur Case in Spike Lee's film Inside Man 2006, and the philosopher Aristotle in Alexander, alongside Colin Farrell. In 2004, Plummer briefly played John Adams Gates in the Disney adventure film National Treasure. He also appeared in Stephen Gavin's drama Cyrano 2005, the romantic comedy Must Love Dogs 2005, Terrence Malick's historical drama The New World 2005, and the romantic drama The Lake House 2006. In 2009, Plummer gave a voice performance for Pixar's animated film Up, where he played the antagonistic character Charles Muntz. That same year, he also lent his voice in Tim Burton-produced action/science fiction film 9 playing El Toledo 1. 2010-2017, beginners and award success. Thumb left upright equals 0.8 Plummer in 2007. In January 2010, Plummer received his first Academy Award nomination for his portrayal of Leo Tolstoy in The Last Station 2009. Speaking to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation in an interview that aired on March 7, 2010, Plummer added, tongue-in-cheek, "Well, I said it's about time. I mean, I'm 80 years old. For God's sake, have mercy." On Oscar night, March 7, 2010, however, he lost to Christoph Waltz. That same year, Plummer appeared in David Fincher's English-language film adaptation of Stieg Larsson's book The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, starring Daniel Craig, Rooney Mara, and Stellan Skarsgård. The film was a critical and commercial success. Earlier that year, Plummer received his second nomination for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his performance in Mike Mills' independent comedy drama film Beginners 2011, starring Ewan McGregor and Melanie Laurent. Plummer was announced as the winner at the 84th Academy Awards. Plummer's win made him, at age 82, the oldest actor to win an Academy Award. When he accepted the award, he quipped, "You're only 2 years older than me, darling. Where have you been all my life?" In 2015, he starred in the Atom Ego directed thriller Remember, starring alongside Martin Landau and Bruno Ganz. Plummer played Ebenezer Scrooge in The Man Who Invented Christmas 2017, which is based on Charles Dickens' novella Christmas Carol. In November 2017, Plummer, who was director Ridley Scott's original choice to play J. Paul Getty in All the Money in the World, was cast to replace Kevin Spacey in the then already completed film. The move came amid numerous sexual harassment and sexual assault allegations made towards Spacey. All scenes that had included Spacey were reshot with Plummer. Co-stars Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams were part of the necessary filming. The decision was made not long before the scheduled release date of December 22. TriStar Pictures intended to meet that release date in spite of the tight reshooting and editing schedule. It was eventually pushed back to December 25. For his role, Plummer earned Golden Globe, BAFTA, and Academy Award nominations for Best Supporting Actor. 2019-2021 Now's Out and Final Film Roles. Thumb right upright equals 0.8 Plummer at the premiere for the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus 2009. He starred in the Ryan Johnson-directed mystery thriller ensemble film Now's Out 2019 alongside Ana de Armas, Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Don Johnson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Lakeith Stanfield, and Michael Shannon. Plummer plays Holland Thromme, a wealthy mystery novelist whose family is celebrating his 85th birthday party when a death occurs. The film premiered at the 2019 Toronto International Film Festival to positive reviews. It was an immense box office success. It was selected by the American Film Institute and the National Board of Reviewers as one of the top 10 films of 2019. In 2021, Plummer was set to play the lead for a film adaptation of Shakespeare's King Lear to be filmed in the summer in Newfoundland under director Des McAnuff. He died before filming commenced. 1953-1964 television debut and appearances. Plummer made his Canadian television debut in the February 1953 Canadian Broadcasting Corporation production of Othello, starring Lorne Greene as the Mayor. His American television debut was also in 1953 on a Studio One episode entitled The Gathering Night, as an artist who finds success just as his eyesight begins to fail him. He also appeared throughout the 1950s on both dramatic showcase programs like the Alcoa Iowa General Electric Theatre Craft Television Theatre and Omnibus and episodic series. In 1956, he appeared with Jason Robards and Constance Ford in an episode entitled The Thief There Was a CBS anthology series Appointment with Adventure. He appeared in the live television drama Little Moon of Alban with Julie Harris, for which he received his first Emmy Award nomination. He also appeared with Harris in the 1958 television adaptation of Johnny Belinda and played Torvald Helmer to Harris Nora in the 1959 television version of Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House. Plummer starred in television adaptations of Philip Barry's The Philadelphia Story 1959, George Bernard Shaw's Captain Brassbound's Conversion 1960, Jean Annual's Time Remembered playing the role of Prince Albert originated by Richard Burton on Broadway, and Edmund Rostan's Cyrano de Bergerac 1962. In 1964, his performance of the gloomy Dane in the BBC production Hamlet at Elsinore garnered him his second Emmy nomination. He played Hamlet in a 400th centenary television production Hamlet at Elsinore, produced by Danish and British BBC TV 1964, taped at Elsinore Castle. 1977-1995, miniseries and voice work. He appeared as Herod Antipas in the television miniseries Jesus of Nazareth 1977 alongside the ensemble cast, which included Laurence Olivier, James Earl Jones and James Mason. Plummer played Herbert Kepler in the True-based television film The Scarlet and the Black. That same year, he starred in a 5-time Emmy Award-winning television series The Thornbirds, alongside Barbara Stanwyck and Gene Simmons. From 1993 to 1995, he narrated the animated television series Madeline, for which he received an Emmy Award, as well as the animated television series The World of David the Gnome. 2020-21 Emmy Awards and final roles. In 2000, Plummer played Sir David Maxwell Fyfe in the Primetime Emmy Award-winning Nuremberg 2000 alongside Alec Baldwin, Brian Cox and Max von Sydow, and the Emmy-winning The Monetschangers, for which he won his first Emmy Award as Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited Series. That same year, he co-starred in American Tragedies Fahrenheit. Lee Bailey, for which he received a Golden Globe Award nomination and appeared in TV movie 4 Minutes, Miracle Planet, and a documentary by Rick Burns about Eugene O'Neill. He received an Emmy Award nomination for his performance in Our Fathers and reunited with Julie Andrews for a television production of On Golden Pond. He was the narrator for the Gospel of John. Plummer appeared as a presenter in the CPAC documentary series The Prime Ministers in 2004. He appeared in the 3rd episode, John Abbott, as Plummer as Abbott's great-grandson. In 2011, he appeared in the feature-length documentary The Captains. The film, written and directed by William Shatner, sees Shatner interview Plummer at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival Theatre, where they talk about their young careers, long-lasting friendship, and Plummer's role as Chai in Star Trek VI. The film references that Shatner, 2 years Plummer's junior, was the other's understudy in a production of Henry V at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival. When Plummer had fallen ill, Shatner took the stage, earning his first big break. Plummer voiced Anja, speaker for the Greybeards, in the video game The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. At the age of 89, he appears in a leading role in Departure, 2019 Canadian-British TV series by Global for NBC Universal about the disappearance of a transatlantic flight. Plummer was set to return to Departure for Season 2. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and Canadian travel lockdown, he would film his parts from his home in Connecticut, instead of venturing to Toronto in 2020 and 2021. He completed his filming for the 2nd season shortly before his death. Other works. Plummer wrote for the stage, television and concert hall. He and Sir Neville Marriner rearranged William Shakespeare's Henry V with Sir William Walton's music as a concert piece. They recorded the work with Mariner's Chamber Orchestra, the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields. He performed it and other works with the New York Philharmonic and Symphony Orchestras of London, Washington, D.C., Cleveland, Philadelphia, Chicago, Minneapolis, Toronto, Vancouver and Halifax. With Mariner, he made his Carnegie Hall debut in his own arrangements of Mendelssohn's incidental music to Midsummer Night's Dream. Personal life. Plummer was married 3 times. His first wife was actress Tammy Grimes, whom he married in 1956. Their marriage lasted 4 years, and they had a daughter together, actress Amanda Michael. He was next married to Patricia Lewis, a journalist, from May 4, 1962, until their divorce in 1967. 3 years after his second divorce, Plummer married actress Elaine Taylor on October 2, 1970. They lived in Weston, Connecticut. Plummer had no children with either his second or third wives. Plummer's memoir, In Spite of Myself, was published by Alfred Knopf in November 2008. He was a patron of Theatre Museum Canada. He was a member of the Players Social Club in New York City. Plummer died at his home in Weston on February 5, 2021 at the age of 91. According to Taylor, he died 2.5 weeks after a fall that resulted in a blow to the head. A statement released by the family announced that Plummer had died peacefully with Taylor by his side. Following the announcement of his death, his The Sound of Music co-star Julie Andrews paid tribute. Others who paid tribute to Plummer included Daniel Craig, Ana de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, Catherine Langford, Ryan Johnson, Chris Evans, and Don Johnson, who all collaborated with him on Knives Out, as well as William Shatner, Anne Hathaway, Elijah Wood, Vera Farmiga, a Dasno's co-star in Up, who also died in 2021, Ridley Scott, Spike Lee, Simon Pegg, Antonio Banderas, Leonard Maltin, Daniel Deacon, George Takei, Russell Crowe as co-star in The Insider, and The Beautiful Mind, Bruce Greenwood and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Lou Pitt, Plummer's manager of 46 years, said in a statement, Major awards. He is one of the few performers to have received the Triple Crown of Acting, and the only Canadian to accomplish this feat. In 2011, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor at the age of 82 for Beginners 2010, becoming the oldest person to win an acting award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, a distinction he held until being supplanted by 83-year-old Anthony Hopkins in 2021, and he also received an Oscar nomination at the age of 88 for All the Money in the World, making him the oldest person to be nominated in any acting category at the Academy Awards. In 2016, Plummer received the Canadian Screen Award for Lifetime Achievement. Almost. Canadian Honours System. In 1968, he was invested as Companion of the Order of Canada, at the time among Canada's highest civilian honours. In 2001, he received the Governor-General's Performing Arts Award for Lifetime Artistic Achievement, Canada's highest honour in the performing arts. He was made an Honorary Doctor of Fine Arts at New York's Juilliard School and has received honorary doctorates from the University of Toronto, Ryerson University, McGill University, the University of Western Ontario, the University of Ottawa, and most recently the University of Guelph. Plummer was inducted into the American Theatre Hall of Fame in 1986 and into Canada's Walk of Fame in Toronto in 1998. He was a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in the Actors Branch from 2007. New stamp pays tribute to legendary actor Christopher Plummer, October 13, 2021.